Hi everyone, my name is Unpeeled, and this is another edition of 3D Printing News Unpeeled, courtesy of 3dprint.com. So what we have for you today is some, very interesting research. This is by Kanga Marius Nagata, Habib Belaid, Joel L. Hayek, and a bunch of other people writing for Nature Scientific Reports, and some of them are from, there's a bunch of different research institutes like Montpellier, Universite de Montpellier, and other research institutes. And what they've done, you can see a little bit of that ahead of you in the graphic here, is they 3D printed cellulose nano-crystals and PLA composites and turned them into bone scaffold, which could be potentially used for tissue engineering. They've used they've essentially made they used a regular bog standard material extrusion machine, Prusa MKS2, I think, with a filament, and the filament is made out of PLA and something from CNC nano-crystals from Ficus toningi. This is the African strangler fig or the magumo tree. What is super nice about this is the magumo tree is actually a very, in Kenya, it's a very revered tree, especially to the Kikuyu. And it's a very useful tree, first off, in feeding animals and conserving water and marking the landscape and serving as a meeting spot, and a lot of medicine and fruit, a lot of other stuff comes from it. So it's a very, very helpful tree. But on top of that, it really signifies like life and fertility and power to a lot of people. It's very, very important ceremonially. It's very important as a kind of a canary in the coal mine for taking care of the land, and signifies like the fertility and the health and overall well-being of the land in the area. And it's really, really a momentous event if one of these trees dies. It's really kind of, and the trees are kind of a way to commune directly with your ancestors or the Kikuyu god, Guy. So it's, I think it's kind of really kind of poetic, I guess. This is the tree that's being used for these scaffolds. So what has happened is these PLA CNC based scaffolds have been printed, and they're highly porous. They're compatible with bone cells. They made kind of a scaffold for hydroxyapatite for bone-like structures, and it shows potential for tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. They just use the MK2S Prusa printer, so it's like a really, really inexpensive printer. So this really proves that maybe they could commercialize something that, that maybe a lot of universities worldwide could do research on this cutting edge side of a platform. A lot of people could be making bone scaffolding type solutions or other types of scaffolds for other types of tissues. And they could be using just bulk standard desktop 3D printers worth a couple €100 for that. So to me, the fact that you could do cutting edge work on really cheap machines always makes me very excited, because that means that it's not only the MITs of this world, or the really, really well-funded universities that can do cutting-edge research into bioprinting and tissue engineering, but also a lot of other universities could join the fray. The next thing is a shoe designed by Finn Rush Taylor Studio and printed with Zellerfeld. Zellerfeld is a company that uses desktop 3D printers and TPU to 3D print shoes, including this $250 one. It's a kind of a slip-on kind of sole shoe. The company started with just about 8 desktop printers, and just a fairly, to us, it's a fairly kind of well-known kind of design. We've seen a lot by the Carbon kind of like design language and stuff like that by Adidas and like. But what I've really noticed is with Zellerfeld is really incredible at marketing. They're really good at myth building around their brand. That there are some kind of crazy techie kids that are really doing the future of design and 3D printing. They're really building this total myth of them being very very cutting edge people, bringing 3D printing to the mainstream. And they're doing this outside of the regular 3D printing community. So Zellerfeld is really building a brand for the next decades. And a lot of other people are just like making 3D printed shoes and just putting them on the market, kind of like, ta-da, world, this is my shoe. And these guys just seem to do the marketing really, really well. If you read the stuff, they're in Complex magazine and other things. If you read the stuff written about them, it's kind of like they're mythologizing themselves from the outset, which is very, very aggressive as a marketing technique. And well, that kind of begs the question: is the reason why we haven't been able to sell really well, apart from Adidas, of course, is being able to sell some 3D printed shoes, but The reason why so many other people failed at it, not the 3D printed shoe or not the marketing, but just or just not the 3D printed shoe itself or the technology or the price or anything, but just the marketing. To me, that's something that really, really begs the question. And of course, now look at this. This is a $250 shoe. It's made using TPU. We know how much that stuff costs for desktop 3D printers. And so this is a shoe where there's no stitching. There's one part, and it could be made of, it can be very, very cost effective, very, very profitable. So, have these Zellerfeld guys, are these the ones to crack it? And this is a question not of the technology, and everybody's kind of approaching it as a technology problem. It's a question of a marketing problem. That kind of was what got me thinking about this today. So the next is CraftBot is releasing a new printer. This is the CraftBot Flow Wide XL. I used to be a mega fan of CraftBot printers because they were really a lot of bang for your buck, really reliable, really kind of robust. They're very simple, kind of UI wise, but they just chugged away the problem and just kept printing. It was really really good. Now then, the printers got a little bit too complex. They started doing IDEX. They started doing like getting more and more expensive, and I became less of a fan of CraftBot really. Now, does this get me back into my CraftBot happy space? I don't know. First off, it looks built like a CraftBot. So very, very solid metal chassis, very solid construction. You got the rails placed against linear rails placed against the back, and it's a lot here to make me very happy. The build volume also definitely makes me very happy because it's 425 by 250 by 500 millimeters. So all of a sudden we're going with like kind of a desktop type 3D printer with a very large build volume. It's 3,400 euros at the moment, right? And it could get a little bit more expensive. So that's a lot of money. It's not, there's no two ways about it. That's a lot of money. It's got a glass capped and print bed. There's a Raspberry Pi for the interface. And then a separate new Predator motherboard for the rest of the electronics. There's a camera. It just looks like a solidly constructed printer. A solidly, there's like kind of an air capture kind of thing on the top of it. It seems like a really nice bit of kit for if you want a print farm or something like that. If you want your university print farm, this could be a really nice thing. Is it going to work? Are people going to say, "Oh, I'd rather have this over an Ultimaker for just just something that keeps on printing"? I'm not sure because a lot of people will be tempted by much less expensive printers. So I don't know if this is the right price or the right system for them at the moment, but I do know that that it's a great company, and I really want to see them make good printers. So I'd love for this to do really, really well because I feel that kind of like the CraftBot fandom kind of thing coming back, and I really think this kind of a system, could be a really, really attractive, really, really kind of eat filament, print out stuff, spit out stuff kind of printer. And I think that's the kind of thing a lot of us want. Not too finicky, not too small, and just something that keeps on working. So I really, really want this to work. And hopefully it'll be as good as it kind of looks at the moment. But, again, $3,400 is 3,400 euros is a bit of a steep price tag for me at the moment. I mean, so I'm a bit on the fence on this one. I want to love it, and I want to wholeheartedly recommend it, but we'll have to give it for a spin, or have to talk to a bunch of people who've given the same for a spin for me to know a little bit more. Anyway, so thank you so much. This is the news for today, and have a great day.